say just a little bit broadly about what you kind of want to talk about?
Sure.
Okay.
So I have to admit I wasn't all that excited about what I thought about talking about, because I was like, oh, I feel like I should maybe talk about kind of like my faith journey over my time here. I told Rachel, I was like, I don't want it to be that serious, but it kind of has been like the strongest thing that I feel like I should talk about. So, and then I got a lot more excited when we talked about it on Tuesday. So it's kind of just from a little bit of like background from before I came here to where I'm at now and a lot of the faith stuff and SSU's role in that. Yeah.
I'm glad you have chosen to talk about what you really want to talk about. It's good, that's what this is about. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about where you, significant parts of your life before you came to SSU?
Yeah. I never knew like how far back to go. Rachel's like, some people might not actually know. So I was not born in Canada. So I was born in the Netherlands, lived there for a bit, moved to France, moved to Texas, and then moved to Canada. And then, that's very quick. And then I've lived in Canada now for I think like 15-ish years. And then in grade 12 in high school, I was signed up like ready and accepted to go to Redeemer. It's a university in Ontario, Christian University. And then in February, before I graduated, February 2012, I got a chance to go on a 2-week-long mission trip to Zambia, and then I got to go again in August, and in between that time, I just could not get certain things out of my head, so I ended up deciding to spend a year in Zambia. So I deferred my acceptance to Redeemer for a year, and then the year was over kind of before I knew it, and I was not ready at all to go to university, so then I just said, sorry, Redeemer, and went back to Zambia for another year, but I worked at a golf course in the fall for a little bit of time in between that, and that's when SSU popped up online. And it was like a rainy day, so my bosses were like, doesn't matter if you're on Facebook, do whatever. So, and then it popped up, so then I came to visit, and I came here instead. Yeah.
Hooray.
Exactly. Do you want to say anything more about what that experience was like for you in Zambia?
Yeah. So, yeah, talking about like faith things, Zambia was like a really tight-knit community. There was mostly North Americans who like I was living with, but we were working alongside like Zambian teachers. But so the North Americans that I was living with, like we got really, really close. Background-wise, we all clearly like had a passion for mission, and pretty much all were from like a Christian Reformed background. So it was assumed that everyone kind of had like the same belief system, and we, it was like everything we were doing from like 6 a.m. to when we woke up. We would have prayer time at the school at 7 a.m. and like the school that we were working at was a Christian school, so it was just like God was so intertwined in every part of our day, and we were really intentional about that. It was an awesome community to be in, and yeah, I loved it. So that was being there, but then coming back.
Sorry, and what were you doing exactly?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was kind of pretty much a substitute teacher, though I really shouldn't have been, but that's kind of what I ended up like becoming. Which then I realized was like my passion was not teaching. Like some people have way more patience, and especially like I was working with grade 1 kids, and I love them all, but like that's not my calling. So then I ended up taking over the music program and the phys ed program. So I was doing that, and it was all like on a volunteer basis. Yeah.
So then, SSU popped up online.
Yeah.
And why did you decide to come here if you were had already been enrolled in Redeemer?
The idea of not traveling for 4 years really killed me after Zambia. Like, I loved high school. I liked school, and I really wanted to go. And especially like I knew international studies was something I was really interested in. But then just thinking like to go to school and just have to make money in the summer and keep doing that for 4 years and not be able to travel in that time just was like, no, I don't want to do that. So SSU, the travel trip thing popped up, and I was like, I didn't even really look that much into the school itself. It was like the travel the travel terms were like checked. They were enough for me, and I was like, oh, okay. And I even came to visit and like did not take a lot in. Like I was just already like, I get to travel. It doesn't really matter what this place is like. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're glad. So then what was it like when you turned up then? When you actually came here to study?
It was a big surprise. One, I had heard the number 120 was like the amount of students that this place could hold, and that was like what I was holding on to so tightly. And then I came here and I had met everyone in one day, and I was like trying to say this as politely as possible to people back home, but I was like, that's it. Like I've met all the people I'm gonna be with, like this is it. And I, like 120 was already a stretch for me, and the fact that that was like 50, I was like, okay. And then shortly after, like, we talked about like the fact that I was being called like the athletic one, I was like, no. Like at home, I have like one of the girls I play soccer with played on Team Canada. Like I was like, we were always, yeah. And the fact that like no one else seemed to be interested in like team sports, like I was like, this sucks. So that was a little bit of an adjustment. And then, yeah, coming in like first class was with Peter Fitch, and we talked about worldview like all the time, and it was good. But part of me was like, like I have some life experience. Like I have Zambia. I'm not just coming fresh out of high school, so like I was maybe interacting with it a little bit, but like not really accepting what I was learning and being like, yeah, I could actually benefit from this. Yeah.
So, having come from Zambia, where it was, you know, you shared a faith background, very similar faith background with lots of people, and then coming here, what was that transition like?
That was really hard. One, it's already hard to like come back from that and go just go home. And I went back from that, had my sister's wedding, and like came here, so I didn't have much of a transition time. So if anyone's done any like mission work or something, like that's already a challenge. And then to come here, I kind of felt like everything was just like crumbling around me because I was continuously disappointed in myself that I wasn't as like devoted to like the time I had spent in the mornings in Zambia, my devotions, and the prayer time that I was doing. I was like, I wasn't translating that into my time here, and I kept feeling like I was alone. Like I was like, this is me. I'm the only one who does this because no one else here seems to like share the exact same like belief system. So that was a lot of like me being very critical of myself and being really disappointed that I was not like living up to that. And in Zambia, when it was such a part of like every day, I just thought there was no way that I could come back and like feel kind of more distant from God after that. But then starting to feel that when I came here just was a huge kind of like crisis. Yeah.
When we were talking about it on Tuesday, you said you kind of had feelings of what's wrong with me, but also what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I think there was questions that were being brought up that I think at the time didn't want to admit that like I just hadn't actually really thought of them and then rooted myself in like, yes, this is what I believe. I just kind of like had gone with it. So there was just certain things that people were doing. I know like coming here, there were so many contrasts. Like there were some students that was like they are like doing all of these things, but they also seem to like love God and have some kind of faith. Like it didn't go together in my head. It was just like how are you getting so ridiculously drunk one night and like being so ridiculous, but then the next day actually being like such a genuine, caring, like seemed to be Christ-loving person. Like I was just really confused by those contrasts, or they were contrasts in my head at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So confusion seems to be one key feeling.
Yep.
In that first year especially. And then I came back for the second year and Asia happened.
Yeah.
But before Asia orientation happened.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean that whole first year was like very up and down. And then in the summer, like doing some of my Asia prep work and like certain relationships and stuff were kind of seeming like they were crumbling. And then just before Asia, there was a couple things that happened, but I think the biggest thing was like that was my lowest moment of being so like disappointed in myself and what I had done and like faith-wise where I was at, and just feeling like I had missed the mark and really feeling that like I am a sinner part of my faith. Like that felt that the deepest then. So I had like 2.5, 3 days where I did not talk to anyone, which is very unlike me if you know me. Like Emily, Erica were 2 people then who, yeah, they were bringing me food and
Played Sudoku
Played
for like 3 days.
lots of Sudokus, yeah. But they were just there, and then I had like some conversations with Sarah and Walter, but like, is she gonna be okay to go on this trip? Because this is clearly just like not going well. And so the trip actually ended up being like a good distraction for me because I like people and I like kind of helping people and stuff. So it was a great way to be like, wow, people are struggling and people are frustrated with each other. So let me like help people figure this out. And like Erica and I were homestay partners, and before we left, we almost were like, okay, like we're gonna be really up in each other's space. Like we might have some issues, and then after the Philippines, it was like we loved it. It was awesome.
There was no issues.
There were no issues. It was
There was
like
no personal space.
no personal space. None whatsoever. Yeah, so that was a time that I got to kind of like distract myself with that. But at the same time, I was considering transferring to Redeemer because in the whole first year I was here, I could not stop thinking about it. I was like, I knew the volleyball coach and he had already accepted me to play on the team, and there was a huge thing in me missing sports here too. That for a long time I like felt really silly to stay here. Like you were saying, maybe it was because it was here. I was like, yeah, I think so. That actually was a bigger issue than I had like let on, because I was like, I took so much time doing that and I loved it. Like I loved teammates who would do the same thing, and like I loved exercising, but I love it. The sports I was playing, I'm not someone who's like, I'm gonna go exercise by myself for an hour and a half and die. Like that's not fun to me, but I think like the doing it with other people was. So yeah, then trying to make my decision of like while I was on the trip and with stuff going on, like do I go, do I not? Because at that point I really started appreciating like the people here, and I was seeing some good things, but I was just, yeah. To leave us as you would transfer. Yeah.
And when we were talking on Tuesday, you kind of said that there was a bit of a sense of having, like sport was something, almost like you'd lost something you really loved, but maybe there was a wider sense of having lost stuff you loved, faith-wise, and certain kind of sorts of friendship, and then sport as well.
Yeah.
And that's hard to live with. So there was a hope that you said Redeemer felt like this is going to be it. This is like, it's made for me.
Yeah.
So everything I love is right there.
Yeah.
So then went to Redeemer, and tell us about that.
Yeah. So it really did seem like a recipe for like Lucinda's success. Because even like the way the dorms and stuff were set up, it was like there were 6 girls in a dorm. You'd have like porch mates with a dorm of 6 guys, and like you have like your own kitchen and you cook for yourselves and stuff. So like I love that idea, and that it's not like totally separate. Like you have dinner usually once a week with those guys. And the first week I was there were soccer tryouts and I made the team. I was like, yes, this is great. Although it was so hard because I had like 3 conditioning practices that killed me because I'd been here for a year and a half and eating mango sticky rice all the time. Anyway, so that was really hard, like physically, but and then like classes, I started enjoying it. And it was just like they do kind of have that. Like the dorms, they'll have like a Bible study or something. Like it was kind of like I was chasing what I had in Zambia with university. And yet, I was there for, I don't know, like 3 weeks or something. And in that time, I was just like feeling so unsettled, like really unsettled. And I'm like, I usually like new situations. Like I don't know, I'm not really all that shy, so I'm like, yeah, I'm new in January, but like, let's get to know each other. And like the dorm girls were really great, but something it was just like feeling really, really unsettled. So I called my parents, and they were really surprised because they know that like I'm usually fine and I haven't lived with them for a long time. So I'm like, oh, this is usually great. Anyway, and I just like started crying, and then my mom, maybe not the best on her part, but she's like, okay, I'm just gonna call you back in 2 minutes. And I was like, anyway, she calls me back, she goes, my dad, your dad and I are getting in the car, like we're coming there, because it was like an hour and a bit away. And I was like, oh, okay, you could have maybe you said that, but yeah. So they came and they like took me out for dinner, and it was like a 3-hour dinner that we were just talking, and they were kind of trying to figure out like what's going on. And then my dad said something of like, "What if you took a break?" And that right there was like, like this relief. I was like, yes, I actually think I need a break. So like I was a little caught up in like the logistics of it. I was like, no, it's okay, I can tough it out. And the next day I went, and the lady was like, yeah, I mean, you get your full tuition back, and it's really only like the amount of money like from you living here for the last month that you have to pay, but like you'd be good to go, kind of. So I was like, okay. So that like the next day I left. Yeah. So that was quite something. So then I ended up having that semester at home.
Hmm.
With your parents?
Yes. Yeah.
By the way, could you just say your parents' names for us quickly?
Gert and Machteld.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
So just to recap, it seems like there was from, it was such a big transition anyway, from Zambia to back in Canada, but an even bigger transition to here. And then kind of a sense of loss, bit of an identity crisis, and then that lowest point going to before Asia, but you kind of got distracted in Asia, didn't really actually think about it, or deal with it. So it kind of makes sense. So what did that do for you? What were the effects of that?
Yeah, so that was kind of the first sign, I think, for me of like experiencing God without that like guilt, shame feeling attached to it. Also, like Caroline, my mentor, like I still didn't even want to share like some of those like biggest divots in my life. But at the end of that Prayers to Heal the Heart study, I actually made it through like my time where I was supposed to kind of share without having shared the thing I actually wanted to, and then finally I was pretty like no, like I'm fine, it's all good. And then I just like kind of felt that picture came up, so I like started bawling again. I was like, fine, God, like we'll do it. So I like told her and started sharing with her, and I was like, oh, there is like beauty to like actually sharing your like deepest woes with people, and it's not like a burden on them that you're going through something. So that was pretty big. And then that also made me a lot more, so that whole process, thinking about coming back to Europe and stuff, and made me a lot more excited to come. There was a few other things going on at the time that weren't great, having like, I just got piano like once every few days for like 3 weeks straight, because I was talking to her about these things. So there was like goodness in the relationship there, and like starting to share more of those things with people.
So when you came back to SSU then, what was that like?
Yeah. I was excited, but a bit like, because I mean, I had left. I had decided to leave and then coming back. And like I felt ready, but at the same time, I like was like putting that pressure back on myself to be like, okay, well now like you really have it figured out. So like you can handle it. Like I kind of knew what to expect with SSU, and I had kind of like gone through this at home and was feeling closer to God, that I was like, okay, so now I can like tackle this. Which was hard when I went through my like divots again of like, shoot, like I'm not as good as I thought I was, like, and feeling that like disappointment again. It was shifting a bit because I was like I had people to rely on, and I kind of started using them, but at the same time, still feeling like it was more of a challenge that I had to like get through.
So you wanted to come back, and it wasn't quite as confusing and awful as it had been before, but still a little rocky, trying to find your way and find your feet.
Yeah.
can you tell us about some like major kind of turning points or key relationships in the journey since you come back?
Well, major relationships. I started dating this guy named Jared, and he turned out all right. Yeah, no. So even just like talking to him, it was a huge thing for me to like. I feel like anything I say about him sounds so cheesy, but just heads up. But like the first time that I was like, I don't even know that much about this guy, but what I do know about him is like I could totally marry him. Like, and that idea was like super exciting, but at the same time made me kind of like focus on myself, which I was always like, that really surprised me because I've always been someone who's like, oh, I like the idea of like being in a relationship, and I was like, but when I'm not in one, I don't know, it's like hard to to not think about that being a possibility and stuff. And the fact that when we started talking, it actually like gave me some time to be like, okay, what do I want to look like then? And not like change for him, but just like faith-wise, there's a lot of things that I like really appreciated about him, and the fact that he was already kind of like challenging me before we started dating. I was like, what is with this guy? So so we started dating after my Europe trip, and that was a pretty huge deal, seeing as I now am marrying him. So, he was a big, like, I wouldn't say turnaround point, but support in trying to, figure this out.
Some other milestones on the journey since you came back?
Since I came back. So it's been nice because I went on the Europe trip early, I now had this is 2 full years of now being here. Which, again, when I first signed up for the school and I was only excited with the travel terms, I was so excited to have 2 full years here and have it not be interrupted, which was kind of interesting in the end that I was so excited about that. So I was kind of trying to work with what does my relationship with God look like? And there's still all these questions constantly being thrown out everywhere. That's what we do, we question everything. And I was still a little bit tired of that at some point. But last year there was several St. Therese alumni who came, and I think there was just a bigger group maybe that came last year. And I loved I still love having them here, because it was for me, it was almost a breath of fresh air, and several of them, I started talking to Anais at a bonfire, and I was like, wow, she's so great. And starting a relationship with Catherine, they were very, very rooted in their faith, but at the same time are questioning things and talking to each other about this. And it the community from St. Therese and that came here, I loved, even if I wasn't a part of it directly, I just loved witnessing it, and it was a really, it was great to see people be able to do that, because I felt that's what for 2.5 years I've been kind of trying to do but didn't know how. And then last semester, we had Sharon Thera, is that her last name? Yeah, she came into a women's studies class, and she was talking about how we are able to question everything, and again, kind of you have the ability, and I was I've heard this for 3 years. Every time that thought always exhausted me. I was I know I have the ability, but at the same time I can't. I just can't do that. And for some reason, timing, whatever, it clicked that I was excited about the idea that I could question things, because I was you know what, I had been looking at other people and thinking I needed to just let everything go for me to be able to question it, but I was no. I had a conversation with Kat on the way home, and then this didn't happen often, but I asked Kat to leave my room, which she was always in there, which I love, but I was can you just leave for a bit? And I had just prayer time there being God, I love you and I want to continue following you, but I also want to explore things, and feeling that was finally an exciting thing that I could do. And that like I could, it's not like a choose one or the other, like it was finally exciting. And then for counseling class we had to do a walk into peace, as Walter called it. And I was like pretty worried about this assignment because it was pretty much like trying to get yourself out of your own head. Which I'm like, yeah, okay, like I cannot do that. And I even like practiced on the way home a few times before like doing the assignment because I was like, okay, like focus on the trees and focus on the grass and like, the wind blow, and I was totally, and then yeah, that didn't go so well. And then like the one day where I decided to do it, I like reread the assignment. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should have like reread it before I started practicing. But it was like the point of this is like not to bring your problems with you, as like we often do on like going for a walk or something. It's to like leave them here. So I like again like visually I was like, okay, problems in a basket, like leave them at home. And I ended up going for like a 2-hour long walk. I don't know why I had never gone to Elm Street before last semester, but I hadn't, and which was also great because it was like exploring something new, which I like. Yeah, and on that walk, it was, yeah, we had to like, as part of the assignment, we had to like think of something like that, maybe a problem or something that we were working with, and just like let it sit there and not overthink it, just like kind of let it sit. And when I thought of that, my word that came up was like inadequacy. And I like the word came up, and again like I had like zero concern of like worry, like oh no, like you feel inadequate, like that's not a good thing, like that just like didn't happen. And I was sitting beside the stream, and like I would not say I'm like a artistic or like even like a literature type person. I don't know, I was sitting there and it almost felt like a whole other experience for me, so I was like, this is not usually what I can like appreciate. But I was sitting by the water, and I love water anyway, and as that word came up, I like noticed these little like bubbles going by, and they like were following this path that made me just think of whitewater rafting, and I love whitewater rafting, and I was like, that looks so fun. So here I am with like this inadequate word in my head, looking at these bubbles, literally giggling by the stream by myself, and I was like, oh, that's so fun. And anyway, like so that experience was just odd. And then this beautiful looking dog comes up out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere with these like beautiful blue eyes. And again, like it came and it was like gone in 2 seconds, and part of me was like, did that just happen? Like, and I'm pretty picky with like what kind of dogs I actually think are cute. I'm sorry, but I am. Like I'm not really a little dog person. I'm like, anyway, and this thing was like my ideal like cute dog. Anyway, so I had come up and left, and
it came right up to you, right?
oh yeah, it came right up and was like on my lap for a little bit. My parents were so gross after, and I was like, what? Anyway, sure, I did see that lady after. I did not imagine that she did have that dog with her. I was like, okay, but she like, thing just ran off, and like I didn't see anyone. And then, yeah, in that time it was like, I almost started like feeling a little bit of that worry of the like inadequate word, and that's when the dog came up. And I remember talking to you about it, and you were asking like what side of, like what do you think God was trying to like show you in that? And that was honestly like the loving, gentle, like playful, joyous side of God that I had like not ever really fully taken notice of, because I'm usually like, I'm pretty critical on myself. I was focused on the disappointment, focused on the guilt, the shame, and then the fact that like this side came up, yeah, it was huge. And then I had to write a reflection for Walter's class, and I was like, I can't write all that, so I just tried to write something that was like, here's kind of the surface of it, so now I know the whole thing, which was really good. Yeah.
Fine, but do you want to just tell us a little bit about kind of the ongoing journey? Because you were saying that you sometimes you don't want it to end like it was all terrible and now it's all wonderful.
Yeah, I'm like really
walk.
weary of that because because that's not at all how it is like. So like with last semester, I've been really thankful that like this kind of newfound like desire to be like, okay, I can hold God to be true and like question things. I've been really thankful that that desire has stuck, but I have been struggling with actually like doing anything about that. And I kind of was questioning, I was like, there are some things that I just feel like I keep pushing off until May. I'm like, in May, after like I'm married, I'll be living with Jared, we're gonna start a life together, like that is a time where I'll have some like consistent things in my life where I can do that. So I've kind of been trying to ask God, like, is this okay for me to be pushing some of these things off, or like should I really be doing this now? So it is still something that I'm trying to work through, and I'm super thankful that, oh yeah, gratitude, didn't even talk about that. Anyway,
You mentioned briefly that.
gratitude has been a huge theme for like the last 2 years. That was just so that has also like kind of contrasted, I think, some of those like the disappointing and things.
Yeah, you were saying that kind of discovering a practice of gratitude and it being so good, it's like it brought a different prayer practice into your faith, whereas maybe there'd been more practices that could easily go into focusing on what you were disappointed in about yourself or what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But this kind of brought in this joyful aspect and helped you see God as delighting in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about ongoing journey?
Yeah, I think that's like, again, I'm worried of like, oh, this was me then. I'm like, no, everything's great. So it's just to like say that it's still like an ongoing thing, and that I have my like concerns too about being here and certain things being okay, and then being at home and going back home and like worrying about like feeling like these last 4 years almost didn't even exist, like in some of the faith aspects. But I'm also just super thankful that this has been coming up now, and that's not just a thing for when I'm home. Like I have time to like kind of sit with this idea and like ask God, like, so what are you gonna do for like, how are you gonna use me in this time when I'm home? Because I do feel like I'm going to be kind of the one now questioning and challenging some things at home. And it was also awesome because, yeah, Jared, when I had told him about some of these things, like he is, had also actually like struggled through some similar things and is really excited to like explore those things together. So I have that to look forward to, which I am excited for. Yeah.
Does anyone have a brief question? It's burning. Well, thank you very much.
I just,
Lord.
you didn't, you mentioned much about your head, but your head took other kinds of beatings. Did that? Like more external beatings.
Yeah. Concussions. Yeah, that's true. The concussion too on Europe, that distracted me a lot. As in being in pain for a lot of that trip. Literally having like Carol run me back while I was bawling on the plane because it just like hurt so bad. Yeah, that's still a thing maybe every once in a while. Like I never used to get as many, like now I still get more headaches than I ever did, but it's not it's not like as ongoing. I mean, I had just gotten it before I went on Europe. One soccer game, that's all it took.
Thank you very much for sharing your story with us.